Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open to business here. And let's wake up the football gods. Wake up, everybody. Oh, my goodness. This has been great. I mean, we have had so much freaking football. You remember? If you remember back a year ago when we had, the initial beginnings of COVID, there was no OTAs, there was no off-season works and stuff together. Everything was done virtual reality. They went to training camp in August and had 10 days of conditioning drills and then 14 practices and then a season. There was no preseason games whatsoever. And, Dak came out the gates slinging the football and having, what started to be a great season until his ankle got broken. This year, of course, it's totally different. We are literally on overload. I don't know that we had this many preseason games in a row because it's been literally, I have live streamed 4 nights in a row games, and tonight will be the 5th. I don't know that you could ever do more than that. I mean, it was Thursday night with the Eagles. It was Friday night with the Washington football team. Of course, Saturday night, it was the Dallas Cowboys. And then yesterday, it was, of course, the New York stinking Giants, where, it's crazy to think what my buddy actually had to say. Rashid. Okay. I'm sorry, I had a little hiccup here on the system. Rashid, literally, we were having a conversation because Daniel Jones was not playing in preseason, and he got into the whole thing that, Dak's yards are just in garbage time. His stuff doesn't count. And I was kind of like, there's a lot of teams that were playing from behind. How come their quarterbacks didn't do that? It's like, because he's good. So I said, well, you know what? I said, tell you what, how about a straight-up trade for Daniel Jones for Dak Prescott? No way. I wouldn't do it. I was like, okay. All right. But then later on, Rashid got talking about Teddy Bridgewater. He's like, Teddy Bridgewater looking really good for Denver. He said, I would trade Daniel Jones for Teddy Bridgewater. What? I got to go through, it's 3.5 hours of a live stream. I got to go through and I got to cut that out because that's as good as why did we draft a wide receiver, or I'd fire his ass, because that's got to be, I mean, literally, that is nothing but straight hate. You take Teddy Bridgewater for trade for Daniel Jones straight up, but you wouldn't take it for Dak. Anyway, Adam Schefter seems to have egg on his face again because of him kind of going out and saying that Dak Prescott won't be 100% and this, that, and the other, and he might not be ready to start the season and so on. It seems like that thought process has been wiped out. Now, the team, of course, is going to start getting into a normal rotation here. The team plays on Sunday. Another 8-day stretch, of course. Is it 8 days? Yeah, 8-day stretch between games, which isn't quite normal. Now, the interesting thing is going to be this. I know Tampa Bay says that they're going to probably play their starter some on their last preseason game. And I'm wondering if a lot of teams will do this because it is a long time between your last preseason game and the season opener. And if you didn't play them, if you played them this week, that's still like 3 weeks of time. And so I think the thought is going to be a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So the team should be getting into a regular practice schedule. I'm trying to find out exactly the way it's working for this week, but I have yet to find it. I know Friday and Saturday are the last 2 practices that the fans can go observe on there. But I don't know if they're going to be off on Tuesday and then practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, walk through on Saturday, and then play on Sunday. I'll get back to you on that one. But what I wanted to actually talk about, and I don't see my list. Damn, Mark. Hold up. Oh, wait, here it is right here. Right in front of me. No wonder I didn't see it. It was right in front of me. The Joneses get a lot of flack because they say we need a real GM. Well, the one thing I can honestly say, and you can make that argument, is it hasn't been from a lack of getting talent. I did a little exercise yesterday, and it almost blows your mind away when you think about this. And I don't know that any other team has been this successful at doing this. Now, for whatever reason, it hasn't translated into Super Bowl wins. But I'm just going back from 2010 until now, what the Dallas Cowboys have done in drafting in the first round. And it's almost insane. 2010, the number one pick, Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant, I believe, is the Dallas Cowboys' all-time leading catcher. And, of course, Pro Bowler. 2011, Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith has been lights out his whole career. The only problem right now with Tyron Smith is Tyron Smith has had some injuries the last few years. Here's where it gets a little bit dicey. Morris Claiborne, where they traded up. That was a reach. Morris Claiborne actually has a Super Bowl ring with Kansas City. But you could look and say, that one sucked for us. We never got it. He stayed injured more than anything else, and he didn't pan out. So, okay. So far you got 2 home runs and 1 fail. 2013, Travis Frederick, all-pro center. Unfortunately, his career shortened because of Hillian-Barr syndrome. But in the time that he was here, was one of the best centers in football. 2014, Zach Martin, one of the top 3 guards in football every year that he's been here. 2015, Byron Jones. Now, this is one that you could kind of argue and say he wasn't that great for us, but he is still playing and got a big, fat contract for the Miami Dolphins. So that is not a bust by any stretch of the imagination. 2016, Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott has been a headache from time to time, but Zeke Elliott has been damn good. So let's recap thus far. Out of 7 drafts, out of the first 7 drafts since 2010, you have 6 guys that have been playing lights out, and only one that was kind of meh. But it's still, I think Morris he might still be playing. All right, so then we go to 17, Taco Charlton, the guy who literally said when Charles Haley questioned his football IQ, who? Well, I'm going to listen to that old guy. We can say Taco was a bust and a bad pick for us. We just can, especially since T.J. Watt was right after him. Fortunately, T.J. Watt didn't have the length that the Cowboys liked, so that's a bad one. 2018, Vander Esch, we can say the jury's out on that one. Vander Esch actually was a Pro Bowler his rookie year, and if healthy, is a really good linebacker. But I'll give you the Morris Claiborne, or not decided just yet. But you're still looking and saying he's still not a bust, okay? He's not Eric Flowers. 2019, we didn't have one. We actually drafted Taco, and I really wanted to get Warren Thornhill myself. He was still on the board, as well as several other safeties, but we're not talking about second-round picks right now. We're just talking about first round. And then in 20, of course, we got CeeDee Lamb. The jury, it's only been 1 year. The jury should still be out on him because there's not enough evidence up there. But what you've seen is he doesn't look like he's going to be a bust. So I'm going to give that one a check. And then, of course, this year we got Micah Parsons, where we don't technically have anything on him other than preseason. But thus far in preseason, he's graded out as the highest linebacker in football in run stopping. Just saying. Now, again, he's only had like 24 plays and so on, and it's only been a couple of games that he's been playing in the first quarter, and not everybody's playing. So the jury's kind of out on him, but you don't look at him and say he's going to be a bust. So I want you to think about that for a second. Out of 10 picks, there's only 2 players out there that you say were completely abysmal for the Cowboys. And I'm not even going to say that Morris Claiborne was abysmal. He just couldn't stay on the field and didn't have enough time to develop here. And Taco Charlton. And then I would say next would be right now Van Der Esch. That is, so even if you put Van Der Esch in that, you can still say with Dez Bryant, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Byron Jones, Zeke Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons, you still hit on 70% of your first-round picks. Guys, 70%. I always say that the draft is a crapshoot, that you have about a 50-50 chance of, guy being great or being terrible. And it didn't matter to me if it's a first-round pick, because we've seen guys like Josh Rosen or Johnny Manziel who are, thought of to be great players that are first-round picks that fail. In fact, you can look at the Hall of Fame, and there's more undrafted players in the Hall of Fame than there are first picks in the draft. So clearly people missed on these guys, and they clearly missed on these guys. But when you look at the Cowboys, here's the thing that's mystifying. It's crazy to think about having that many first-round picks that have been that good and not winning. It's a mystery to me. If you got an answer other than I say that maybe coaching and maybe Jerry Jones being a little too much on the coaching staff would be the reasons behind it. But I feel like, and it's funny that I have so many haters and trolls that are out there that whenever I say anything positive, basically the trolls will jump on me and say, listen to this guy, he's freaking nuts. But I look at the team right now. Last year was crazy because we didn't have that offseason. We brought in some name players that you thought might perform when you looked at Emerson Griffin and Don Terry Poe and things that you thought that maybe those guys with the experience would carry the defense a little bit better. Of course, you lost Dak Prescott. And let's be clear here. I'm going to make a statement and prove me wrong. But Washington football team only won the division by one more game than us. If you had Dak Prescott, the Cowboys win the division going away. I can guarantee you that the Cowboys got at least one more victory with Dak Prescott at the helm. But last year to this year, and looking at the difference on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to make mistakes. But it's not going to be from a lack of effort, and I can't say that about last year's defense. I look at the offensive line who, we were looking at, all of our regular starters and everything else, and we're good. And backups, we didn't really have any. And once we started losing bodies, it was evident that that offensive line was nowhere near the same. I feel like, at least by hook or by crook, that offensive line is better suited to weather a player or two being injured for a short period of time. Even with Terrence Steele, I know a lot of people are like, oh, screw Terrence Steele. Terrence Steele got some valuable time last year and is now working out on left and right and going to get better. We've done some things with the front office, and I think you almost have to look at the front office this year and say they did a lot without having a lot to work with. We'll find out if it ends up, paying dividends. But from where I stand here, I say that this team is definitely headed in the right direction. I think that this team is a playoff team. I think this team has a really good chance to win the division. And we'll see what happens. But that is my conclusion of what I've seen so far. And I'm truly amazed at the drafting that the Cowboys have done. That's freaking insane. All right, you guys, tonight we have our regular live stream, which is normally at 9 o'clock, but we're going to go for 5. We're going to go for 5. Tonight there's another football game. I can't remember off the top of my head who's playing, but we will be live streaming it as well because we talking about practice, getting in shape for the regular season. You know how we roll. Watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is